broadcasting live out of a basement in Appleton, Wisconsin. You're tuned into Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. We're the show that gives you an opportunity to call in and be a part of the show. Our call-in line is 920-358-0795. Core. Hello everybody, welcome to Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. If this is your first time tuning in, WCZR is an independent streaming station out of Appleton, Wisconsin. We play a lot of local music alongside all your mainstream favorites. If you haven't checked it out, give us 20 minutes. I think you'll like it. Half guaranteed. So we've got a special show today. This is going to be an accordion conversation, so I'd like to get right into it and introduce our panel. We've got Frank Anderson. He's a filmmaker, a musician. He's a Wisconsin historian. He's played accordion on a Killdozer track called Free Love in Amsterdam. That was on the 12-Point Buck album, a legendary album from that band. He's also currently in Zebra Mussel. I'd like to welcome Len Nelson. Len Nelson is a legend in the Wisconsin radio scene. He helped put a spotlight on local music and it endures to this day, most notably by starting the Brewed show on WAPL. He currently plays and MCs in a band called STEEM. And Danny Jerbeck, he is a accordion player in the truest sense. You can hear him playing in Copperbox. He's won Whammies. He's appeared on national television, right? Yeah. Welcome to...
Because he's pretty.
Yeah. It's not because of my accordion playing, I don't think.
Well, welcome to Fox Cities Core, you guys. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having us. This was a fun idea, I think. I hope.
Well, I have to give credit to Frank and Tony, who were talking some brainstorming, and they had this idea about accordion is an instrument that it's very rich in Wisconsin's history, but it's also used as like a butt of jokes for some reason. You know, and there's a ton of accordion jokes, a ton of accordion comments about the instrument. And in your opinion, do you enjoy those jokes?
The first couple of times I see it when I get a meme sent to me by Facebook Messenger, but after about the 115th time with the same one, then it's not funny anymore. So you can stop. We've seen them all.
You and I are always getting tagged on
every
same
single
jokes.
one. Yeah, every single one.
Hundreds of times.
Well, so you guys all play accordion.
I also like to point out, because people always send the famous Tom Waits quote, what is it about a gentleman in an accordion? And a gentleman, I forgot what it is, and it's a famous one too.
Oh, a gentleman is somebody who can play the accordion but chooses not to.
Yes. But I will point out that Tom Waits employed accordion players on a couple of albums too. So
he also played. Tom played accordion too.
So he knows.
Well, I saw that, I think, on your Facebook page, Len. You had a couple. Kevin Huss said he thought it was a joke at first when he saw that the show was taking place.
Oh, yeah. He thought this was a joke. Here's the joke, though. 3 accordion players walk into a radio studio and talk about accordions for an hour. Pause. Okay, what's the punchline? No, that's the joke. That's it.
Half of the people laughed anyways. Yeah. They're like, oh, man, that's hilarious.
Well, so how long have each of you played accordion? I know you've got different experiences, different lengths of time, but at one point, all of you played accordion.
Well, I'll start. I learned when I was 7 years old. I'm 63 now, so I can't do the math very well, but that's a long time. So that's a long. I mean, I was several decades in the middle where I wasn't playing very much, but not professionally anyway. So yeah, long time. And I still have the same accordion I learned on, little tiny 12-bass accordion. Yeah, and every once in a while I'll take it out just for memory's sake. And I'll tell you what, an accordion that sits in a box for 40 or 50 years, it doesn't smell very good anymore.
I've been playing button accordion for about 41 years now. I started when I was 9. I didn't want to.
Yeah, I didn't either.
My grandfather. I don't think anybody does, do they? But I was already playing drums in my dad's band, and my grandfather really wanted me to take his old 2-row Hohner that he bought when he was in the Navy in World War II. And so he's like, here, take it. And I'm like, I'm not going to play this. And my dad's like, you're going to play it, kind of thing. And well, I started playing. It's like, oh, I already know some like songs. So, but when I first saw my grandpa's face, I was like, okay, I'm onto something here. Just the connection. He started tearing up, and my grandpa never showed, you know, any emotion, except when he had a couple beers and he'd be out dancing on the dance floor, and then he was having a great time. But otherwise, he was really tough. But yeah, so I've been playing 41 years too, a long time.
Okay, beat that, Frank.
All right. Well, I started playing about 45. I'm much older, so I can't compare. 45 years ago, and
good, I win.
Oh, you two have already won. But I played it a lot when I started playing. All of a sudden, I was playing in a lot of bands. And I was also, I don't know why, but I was on a lot, for some reason, I get a lot of recording gigs. And I learned really quickly, it's really fun to play the whole accordion, the buttons. No producer of a pop song wants you to touch the buttons, the bass buttons and the rhythm buttons on the left side.
For the layman, that's the part we can't see while we're playing.
Right.
For the left hand, yeah.
Right. We're also a little bit behind the real bass player. Who's usually right.
Yeah.
And our note drags on a little more, even though, you know. But yeah, I've been playing it. Last time I played accordion, I can't get back to it. I'm trying to get inspiration from these guys to come back. And last time I played it, and this is for Tony. It was also the last time I played six-string. It was on a tribute album to John Martin, the great British folk artist. And playing on that album was Joe Bonamassa, The Cure, the underrated Snow Patrol. Actually, they're kind of lame. And many more. I promise to drop names.
When you picked up the instrument for the first time, it is in my opinion, it's a intimidating instrument. There's a couple different kind of accordions, which maybe you guys can expand on at some point. But there's the tradition. I don't know if it's traditional, being the button kind, or the one with the keys on it, like a organ almost.
The piano accordion is what they call it, with the keys on the right, the buttons on the left. Danny plays the button box, which is buttons on both sides, which I never figured out. Even the little toy accordions, you know, it's got like 6 buttons on one. I can't even play one of those. So I admire guys who can do that, because the piano accordion, you know, you learn piano, you can futz around. So your right hand is basically the same, even though it's vertical instead of horizontal. But button box to me seems a lot more difficult.
How are the buttons set up? Are they obviously in an order, but
they are. Yeah, it's. I like to think of it. Maybe the easiest way is think of it as a harmonica with bellows, with my little diatonic style button box that I play. Each note, each button, push and pull, is a different note. So basically, if anybody has ever played harmonica, it's basically the same. Yeah, the same. And then you go up one button, you know, da da, shift the button, da 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 da. So yeah, it's a little difficult. First getting going for anybody who never played it. So getting that whole pattern down.
Well, and your dad played it, so
my grandfather did.
He gave you lessons?
No.
Oh, so how did you learn?
Self-taught. Sat in a basement, and you know, it's that whole thing. Once I got going, and kind of like Frank said, we just couldn't stop. You know, this like, wow, this is fun. Like, you are a one-man band if that you want. You got your bass side accompaniment, and you got your melody side. So you are a one-man show. So it wasn't. My parents would ask me to practice. Like, they would be yelling downstairs in the basement at 9:30, 10 o'clock, shut up! You know, like, please, you're killing us, you know. So they created a monster, you know. Thanks, Grandpa.
I used to put 2 towels.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah.
So I wouldn't look, number 1.
Oh, okay.
But number 2, to muffle it. But you need a basement. You cannot be near humans.
Yeah. Well, my folks set up a whole room in our basement remodeled, so to speak, and my dad tried to do amateur soundproofing so it wouldn't be too loud upstairs because my younger brother played drums and another brother played guitar and organ, and so it was oh man, it was ugly, really like the ugliest cheap carpet you can imagine up the walls, and then he bought some acoustical tiles and put it on the ceiling, and what he forgot was that the venting and duct system goes right above this room, right up into the dining room through the ceiling, so none of that soundproofing did a thing. but we had a whole room to do our stuff in, and it was a blast.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'd like to mention we have 3 people from 3 very distinct polka regions, and Danny, of course, is from the greatest polka region in polka history, which is Fox Cities, near Chilton, Hilbert, Manitowoc.
Don't forget Pulaski.
Gaz.
Don't forget Pulaski. You're going to make people mad.
My wife's uncle from Chicago, who played a star accordion, star concertina, has a very declining opinion of Pulaski and what they call polka. But anyway, Len, of course, is the Minnesota polka style. And
which is a lot of Scandinavian
absolutely
stuff. I grew up in Minneapolis, so yeah, my songbook was tons and tons of Halsa Dem Darhema and
awesome,
and lots of Scandinavian stuff. But we also Frankie Yankovic was still very popular in Minneapolis, so we kind of played all those different styles, but a lot of Scandinavian stuff.
Cool.
A little more kind of lilting style as opposed to punchy.
A lot
stuff.
of schottisches.
Oh yeah, tons of schottisches. Yeah. Yeah.
And the rolling waltz, there's a name for it, because that's my region as well, is near Madison.
I had an uncle who loved to dance with his wife to mazurkas, so he had to learn a lot of those too. But but
are we boring people?
Probably.
Fascinating.
Yeah. It is. It's wonderful. It's not narcissistic music. Your job is to get them dancing and smiling, and that's the greatest job a musician can have.
I've often said, people will say, "Hey, can you recommend a band for my wedding, for my reception?" I said, "Get a polka band. You want people to dance all night and have fun? If you go to weddings where there's a polka band, there's more people on the dance floor than any." And I shouldn't say this, but any DJ will ever get, really. And the cool thing is it's enjoyable to dance to, whether you're 3 years old or whether you're 97 years old. You'll see everybody out there dancing together, and it's a great communal thing. Some people think, it sounds the same all the time, whatever. But you get them out on the dance floor, and everybody can do it. It's not that hard to do a basic polka dance or a waltz, and I think it really helps. So I'm gonna put in my plug for more polka bands at wedding receptions.
We need.
It's not just for Sunday Mass anymore in the summer.
Well, I know
polka Mass. That's a whole nother thing.
Well, in heaven there is no beer. I mean, there's heaven right in the name, Frank. It fits with church.
Right. Well, that's the name of the documentary by Les Blank.
Oh yeah, that's
everybody can look up at home. In heaven there is no beer. Filmed in Milwaukee.
I like that. Frank's got. You guys all have knowledge on this stuff. Like it's.
I'm obsessed with why polka died. Completely obsessed. And I have a website.
Frank, Danny's right here.
Oh.
Wait a second.
That's like saying there's no Santa Claus.
I didn't know that.
We've got a question now. What's the most challenging polka number for an accordion player?
I know it was always one of my most challenging, and I haven't played it for so long, so I would completely screw it up. But I always thought that Springtime Polka was a tough one. And that one always
polka.
Yeah, that's a clarinet polka. Not what did I say?
Springtime.
Springtime's not that hard, but it's got a couple hard parts. But clarinet, yeah, that's the one. Sorry, Danny.
It is.
So you haven't played it for a while.
It's a tough one.
If you can get through that without missing 4 or 5 notes, you are incredible.
And you guys run with a lot of people in polka circles? Like, it seems like if you're looking for an accordion player, I wouldn't even know where to look.
I spend a lot of time with myself, Andy.
Not that there's anything wrong with that either.
People ask all the time, and they'll be looking for an accordion player for something or another, and I usually say, call Danny Jerobic.
Yeah,
You know?
thank you. Yeah,
You probably get some of those.
I do,
You might have
yeah.
got one this week, as a matter of fact.
I did.
I
Thank
recommended
you.
somebody
Yeah,
again,
you
yeah,
did.
for a gig.
Thank you, bud. Appreciate that.
Another question here from the Henning channel. They want to know, is accordion tough to teach and learn? I don't know if
No.
you've tried to teach somebody accordion before.
No, but it just requires that the student apply themselves, that's all. It's not. But
Yeah.
you've really got to work. But that's true with any instrument. People are, they're daunted by the piano accordion because you have two different things going on. And they're daunted by a concertina because it's got that diatonic thing going on.
Yeah, more than one note per
Yeah, but
button, yeah.
every instrument has a moment where you go, and you get over the hump and you're home free.
Something clicks, but there's nothing like really getting that first song, and then once you get that, it's like, oh, I can do it. It's the same as learning anything.
For me, it was growing up in Minneapolis. There was a radio station, WJMN. It was all polka all the time. It was Polka 1010, and they had a theme song, Polka 1010, Polka 1010. That's our favorite song. And I learned that song. My very first polka I learned how to play. And once I hit that, I'm playing the song that's on the radio, and it was an epiphany. It was
I'm
like,
gonna hit the big time.
yeah, well, kind of, and that was kind of a thing going, yes, I can do this. I can do the thing that professional people are doing. And it was pretty incredible. And it wasn't more than a few years later, I was getting paid to do it. It was outstanding.
Len, you just hit on something. Polka lyrics. Polka fashion, polka lyrics. That's about as deep as they go. Polka, polka, 10, polka, all that.
It's like, wow, this is a serious song. What's going on?
Yes.
Why is the song so serious?
That one's pretty philosophical.
You guys, before the show, wanted to talk about polka fashion.
That's the one thing I dislike most about polka is polka fashion. If you've ever watched, we still have a weekend morning polka show around here, so you can see it. Tune in because it's cool, and you see some great bands. But
That's
wow.
Polka, right? On the CW14?
Yeah, exactly.
Great dancers
Exactly.
too.
That's
I love watching
yeah,
dancers.
You guys like that?
I don't like the actual quality of the show, but some of
No,
the
not
dancers.
that.
Yeah.
It makes me sad because you remember before every Packer game, those polka shows from 30, 40 years ago when the dancers were all young.
Yes, when the music was popular in that demographic, and now
they were still they were around 50 years old.
So do you say polka is dead because all the people dancing on that show are nearly so?
Yes, yes. And the saddest sight I saw was at Oktoberfest in Appleton some years ago. They had one lonely accordionist under the overhang in front of the performance hall in downtown Appleton playing alone. And everybody thought he was busking for money. No one was dancing, no one, he just sat there all alone. It was so sad.
Can I ask just for personal interest, how much did he make?
I don't know.
Busking.
Busking, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't have a bucket out,
Okay. But polka fashion, wow. And Danny notices now it seems to have more. It used to be polka dot skirts and, ruffled shirts and things like that. And now, Hawaiian.
It's Hawaiian shirts.
Everybody wears Hawaiian shirts at polka gigs for some reason.
Do you think that's because of the age of the polka players?
It's all they have in their closet? Maybe, I don't know.
It's easy.
Matching shirts, they just go to wherever and
the matching outfit thing is really big too.
They'll buy 6 to 7 shirts, and
do you think that's attributed to polka not being popular with young people? Is just the fashion and sort of the whole appearance of it?
Maybe that's it. I ain't wearing that stuff.
Well, I believe Eddie Blazonczyk was one of the first guys to do it after he went on one of his cruises, and because he was so popular, all of the younger musicians looked up to say, well, if Eddie B's doing it, we're all doing it. And it hasn't changed in the last 40 years. There's still a lot of bands still wear
Eddie B is Eddie Blazonczyk, who led Eddie Blazonczyk and the Versatones. They're from Chicago.
Great band.
And the greatest, in my opinion. They came up with a new form of they're the ones who pushed polka a little bit beyond its boundaries. And they came up with a style called Chicago Push. Mm-hmm. And you can take that word push literally, because someone with a piano accordion, give me a beat, give me a polka beat, would be going. big mighty bellows push on syncopated like that. That was his sole job. So the music was powerful, and you can see that on YouTube.
Yeah, the accordion was almost a percussion instrument.
Yes,
you would just drive it. It's driving. It was almost like the fiddle in like country band.
Cajun, right?
I think that's kind of where Eddie maybe got it from too. Kind of brought in some country, the Cajun elements. And it was powerful, man. It just drove. I mean, it was just like a bus coming through. It was like,
that's a good description.
You either get on the bus or get out of the way, kind of thing. But that was a powerful.
On the dance floor, get out of the way.
Rock and roll drummer just hitting it as loud as he could. And
Eddie came from rock and roll.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Oh, the accordion was popular until the guitar
wait a minute. I have a fun fact. More accordions were shipped to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and they're not made here. They're made in Italy. Were shipped to Milwaukee, Wisconsin in 1955 than any other city in the United States. That's why you see so many old accordions at pawn shops. And that was the peak, because what happened 1 year later? Big. Elvis. And then by the Beatles, nobody would get caught dead with an accordion. No kid. And that ended it, I think, ultimately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was, and you said like most of the accordions come from Italy, or a lot did. There's a town called Castelfidardo, Castelfidardo, I think is how it's pronounced, Castelfidardo. And at one time in like the 40s or late 30s or whatever, there were like 60 accordion manufacturers just in this one town, and it's not that big a town.
Was it that many?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
And there's still like 20.
America was polka crazy back then.
Yes, but they would ship them here, and then the war came, and so a lot of the accordion parts manufacturers in Italy were converted into wartime manufacturing for the war effort. So they started shipping parts. Just wherever you could find parts, whatever, stockpiles of parts, and then people started making accordions in New York, quite a lot with the leftover parts. I think that's where the main accordion that I use is from the 40s, and the Baldonis down in Milwaukee, they fix accordions, and I would take it in there, and he said that's likely where that accordion was made, from pre-World War II parts that were put together here in the United States afterwards. And that's why there's so many different brands too. People go, oh, it's a such and such. There's really only a handful of brands that anybody knows, but there were so many different makers just making them from these random parts all over the place. It's kind of interesting. It makes it kind of hard to research the history of any particular accordion. Danny, of course, gets to play Honers all the time because he's a Honer. What do they call you guys? A rep? Endorsey, yeah. Which is pretty cool because they make a really good box.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Which is now their top of the line boxes are made in Italy again now. Cool. For like the longest time they were in Germany, so it's half German, half Italian parts. So it's kind of neat. Huh?
I had kind of a funny story. People want to give me accordions all the time. I tell them I can't take any more accordions if I want to stay married. If I value my marriage, I can't have any more accordions. But one very special one, Michael Bailey from Vic Ferrari, his mother played accordion way back when. She's been a church organist for literally 78 years or something like that. But she had an accordion, doesn't play it anymore. And I needed some repairs on mine, and Michael said, you know what, you need to bring an extra one every time in case something happens. Just isn't a bad idea. But he gave me his mother's accordion. It's a Francini accordion, and I didn't know the brand, whatever. Pretty decent accordion, but I took it down to Baldoni in Milwaukee and said, check it out, go through it, clean it up. And he goes, yeah, it's a real good accordion. And Ivo Baldoni takes a look at it, his eyes light up, and he goes, I haven't seen one of these in years. And he goes, yeah, this was made in Castelfidardo, and by the way, I went to high school with the Francini sisters, the manufacturer's kids. Yeah, so it's kind of a special moment for everybody. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
And I know the guitar market is pretty hot right now. How are the prices on accordions? Are they collectible? Do you guys have a stockpile? You said people are trying to give you accordions all the time.
I have 9, not including the couple little toy ones. And well, there are so many accordions that people that have been in an attic for so long. If they've been in a basement, I don't want any part of that one. But if they've been kept in the attic or whatever, my aunt played, my grandma played, we got this accordion, and I will be honest, probably 90% of them are junk at this point. But don't unless you got one that's in perfect condition and is worth some money, don't give it to me.
Did the bellows need to be replaced after a while? I don't know how.
Absolutely,
how those last.
Yeah, sure.
They definitely get brittle.
The best thing you can do for accordion is to play it. To keep playing it, and once they're not played for a while, it kind of starts to go away.
Starts falling apart. Every bit of it.
So it needs maintenance.
Oh yeah. And who can forget Kutnik's
downtown Appleton, the paint shop.
Cliff Kutnik, yeah.
I moved to Appleton, and there's an accordion repair store in downtown Appleton, but he's also interior design and paint.
The first time I went in there, I was with a friend, and I was kind of helping him out with a construction project, and I go, I've always wanted to go in here because there was a couple accordions in the in the showroom window, and I went in, and he was dealing with the guy to get his paint and all his stuff, and I picked up one of the accordions, and as I picked it up, did I get some evil glares? Like this guy is gonna break this thing or whatever, and then I started playing, and that glare turned into a big wide smile, and he's going, "You don't get too many people coming in here who actually know how to play one of those things."
Is it easy to break an accordion if somebody's playing it improperly?
I don't know how easy it is to break. I've dropped mine a bunch of times. Some things can come loose a little bit. That's what happened to mine, actually. I kind of bumped it, and one of the some of the interior parts kind of came loose. If you ever take an accordion apart, it's like opening the hood of a Jaguar now. It's like, oh my God, I can't fix that.
Yeah, there's a whole mess of parts inside there.
Well, Frank, you mentioned the Beatles kind of knocking accordions out of style. They incorporated accordion, and I think We Can Work It Out. There's some accordion, but it wasn't enough to like bring it back to the mainstream. Of course, you ask somebody about accordion and pop music, they'll bring up Weird Al Yankovic. Do you think Weird Al hurt or helped?
Len plays live with STEEM on a very popular hit, the Rascals, How Can I Be Sure?
Yeah.
And Steve,
it's like a French waltz kind of thing.
That's my favorite song Steve sings.
I love it too. Steve likes it too. Yeah,
I know, but you tell him that, and he goes.
Well, actually, with STEEM, we do "You've Got to Hide Your Love Away" by the Beatles, and I play accordion on that one.
Oh, cool!
So it keeps popping in pop music, and then in the '80s there was kind of a renaissance. Everybody wanted to play it again, right?
Yeah, it was kind of maybe it's the less is like more thing with Mellencamp and some of those guys, like the Bodines too. Yeah, it was that same kind of era, and like John Mellencamp wanted the violin, the like accordion on songs like Cherry Bomb and that kind of stuff, and he even told his like drummer, you can only use one tom, either the floor tom or like the rack tom, because he's less is more kind of thing. So just bare bones kind of sound, and that was a cool time, because I was even like kids like, is that an accordion on like the radio? I'm like, okay, so there is hope yet, It's kind of
There was a flood of baby boomers who had taken accordion lessons as kids and dropped. All of a sudden, they're picking it up again in the 80s, tons, and a lot of Cajun stuff going on then, and a lot of blues and boogie accordion going on then. The first run I ever learned that I practiced on my left side was da 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 da, and then you got to go faster, da 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 da, and I put the towel on top and
boogie woogie on the bass.
Okay, this hand.
Yeah, but you brought up Cajun, like when Los Lobos became popular.
He can play.
Yeah. And suddenly
David
Hidalgo.
He's a real player.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But then I was at WAPL radio, and we're playing this song from this band Los Lobos. I go, that's a really cool song. How Will the Wolf Survive? And I don't know if there's accordion on that track.
Yeah, there is.
On that track alone. But I go, I'm playing accordion on this classic rock, or at the time active rock radio station. This is pretty cool. Yeah.
David was awesome. He could really play. He grew up playing it. The thing that drove me, I don't know about you guys, I hate it when they push. They just grab the edge of a piano accordion and push and just play the piano side for effect. That's my thing. It drove me nuts. And they still do. You go to Mile of Music. A lot of those accordions that are from basements and attics, and someone just pushing.
Yeah, look at their left hand. If the fingers aren't moving, they're not a real accordion player.
Yeah, most of those guys.
And more power to them. I mean, they like the sound and they can do it well. That's
but
great.
You know what?
It's the
they
visual.
can get a Hohner thing with a
Melodica.
Melodica,
yeah, same thing.
You're right, but it's basically just keyboardist who will pick up the accordion, and that's kind of what you're probably thinking of. Yeah,
I guess it's like playing open tuning on guitar in a way.
No.
I don't know what you're talking about, so I don't ever play guitar.
no.
We had another question. At gigs, does anyone ever ask you if you know Gus Polinsky, the polka king of the Midwest, of the Kenosha Kickers?
Oh yeah, John Candy's character.
Candy's band
from
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Is that the one?
Home Alone.
Home Alone?
I think it was Home Alone,
okay,
right?
Sure.
Where he's in the back of the. Funny thing about that, watching that movie Downtown Ripon, which is where I was brought up, maybe 7th grade, 8th grade, and so I was like Polka King of the Midwest, and everybody from Tuba Dan. That's my dad. I'm like, oh my god, so I'm just trying to watch this movie at being 7th grade. You know, now it's like, oh yeah, that is my dad. You know, but right at that era, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't want any of my classmates to know.
Don't mention polka.
In junior high, it was like my our school band director wanted me. Well, you play the accordion. I'll teach everybody a song. You can at the concert. You can play accordion, and I'm going, oh man, everybody's gonna laugh at me. And now I'd be going, yeah, baby.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Put me up front.
I'm in there.
At some point, Danny, you started a band called Copperbox with your wife Michelle. Like, what was the motivation to start a band with predominantly featuring the accordion, and what was the initial feedback like, and what has it morphed into over time?
Basically, we wanted to feature the accordion because it's awesome, you know, and not a lot of other people were like doing it, and still a lot of them aren't yet, you know, with the button box kind of being the like lead voice. But it was hard getting going. Not only one, just with the button boxes. Michelle would be doing all of our bookings, still does after 22 years. She still does all of our main bookings. So she'll be like calling up this classic club called Heroes in Green Bay. I don't know if you guys ever knew it, like a real dark, dungy blues club. Smoky, you couldn't even see past the first person at the first bar stool kind of thing. Anyways, calls up Pat there. Hey, we have this band. We blend some polka, blues, rock kind of stuff, and Pat's like, oh, okay, cool. What kind of instrumentation? All right, my brother-in-law plays the bass, drummer, guitarist. I play saxophone and like sing, and my husband plays the accordion. And it's kind of like pause. You know? He's like, oh, think about it, you know. So she sent him a demo, and he like called her back and said, yeah, let's like try one. You know, I've been playing it here, and some of the 2-3 guys in like the bar was like, oh yeah, that's not bad. So
well, you had kind of a I always call it sort of a rock and roll polka band with kick.
Yeah.
Before this, so I mean, there was
just
kind
up-tempo.
there was kind of a little bit of a transition in there, right, to Copperbox.
Basically, yeah, we like started writing songs, and the Sunday polka crowd were not digging our rock and Cajun 2 steps, you know. As like Frank said, no, that polka scene was dead, you know, and we did not belong there, and we weren't trying to fit in anymore. I mean, because we knew how to fit in, we just didn't want to anymore. So that's why we just changed names. We went from Kick to Copperbox now, and so we were writing songs, and we just wanted to like freedom to play whatever we wanted to play, like whenever. And that's not the like true case, because we still can't do that. There's still a time and place when to play songs when we are hired to do the job. But we just wanted just like, okay, we know these 100 songs, and we might play them at any point in time, and that's cool. That's what I love.
Well, it's working too. How many gigs do you guys have a year? I mean, you're playing all the time. Mm-hmm. So whatever you were doing, obviously, it found its way. Yeah,
yeah. We just had to find like right gigs, and that takes time. And we were fortunate to find like the right friends. You know, Len and Rick had us on their morning show right after maybe our second year of like playing, and you guys seen us somewhere at the Kokana Blues Fest.
Here's why. I first time I saw Copperbox, I see this crazy guy in a button box accordion doing a sort of polka / klezmer version of "Comfortably Numb" by Pink Floyd.
Oh yeah,
and going crazy. I'm going, there's something going on here that I think I'm pretty damned interested in. And then you guys did a version of "Last Child" by Aerosmith with lead sousaphone. I mean, come on. And the band kind of hit me in the heart right away. So I've loved you guys forever.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. But I just wanted to like say that it took time, like baby steps to, you know. And a lot of help and a lot of luck, you know, too, is basically.
We recently put out some videos that I think your sister-in-law filmed of you guys calling the Wolf River sessions, I believe, where you're playing some songs by the Wolf River. As far as reimagining hits or, you know, past songs, do you typically get a better reaction from originals at shows or your new versions of hits?
I would say most of the time is like covers. Our different covers get like the most, but there are a few of our original songs that people really, really like. You know, it's like we're not wonderful song writers. I wouldn't say that. We're not known for most of the like songs that we do play, but there's a handful of songs that Michelle wrote a song called Getaway.
It's a great song.
I wrote a song called Gypsy Dancer, which is a little Balkan kind of groovy, little Eurobeat kind of thing. And people like that just because it's way different. You know,
Eurobeat sounds so much cooler than Gypsy Balkan.
It does. I gotta put that. I gotta write that down. It's like, I don't know why I'm even doing. Yeah, Eurobeat. Yeah.
That's the great thing that I love so much about Danny is that he's fluent in so many different styles. Danny can play Tex-Mex, Danny can play Cajun, Danny can play Polish. He could, you know, whatever. You have picked up those styles, and I think it's really expanded the panoply of opportunities for you guys to find great tunes to do and to make songs. And by the way, speaking of the Wolf River sessions, you guys just put out a video of a cover of Dire Straits' "Walk of Life," which absolutely makes me smile from ear to ear. When I first heard the first notes, I'm going, this is perfect for Copperbox.
Who's bringing the ideas for songs? Is it everybody in the band? You, Michelle, and David?
Yeah, well, now that Dave is back, like he's definitely Dave is my younger brother. I call him baby brother Dave.
And does he play every instrument known to man?
Dave?
Yeah.
He's talented.
He is, yeah. He is. He's very, very good. Great bassist, great tuba player, but can definitely play keys, trumpet too, brass, you know. But yeah, Dave is always like, hey, what about this song? We used to do this song way back. So he definitely helps. Yeah, it's basically for most of the time it's like me. If like we're trying to come up with something new, I'm like, I think that's gonna work. So
I think in the Dave posted the Walk of Life video, and he said something of, my brother keeps coming up with weird ideas, and we love them. I'm paraphrasing.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like Dave for sure.
Frank, I want to ask you. We talked about it on a prior show, but your accordion performance on Killdozer's 12-Point Buck album. How did that come about?
Not your traditional accordion number.
You played what could be a very memorable part, or that is a very memorable part. It adds a little chaos to the track.
Well, sadly, the left hand was ordered to go behind my back.
Frank, that would have been cool if they asked you to grab the bass strap.
Yeah.
Chicken wing it, yeah.
So the track is Free Love in Amsterdam.
Yeah, just yeah. I don't know. I just played. It was 2 takes. Yeah, I don't remember it very well.
those were heady days for Frank. There was a lot going on.
But I just moved back, to Wisconsin from California, and Butch Vig called and said, "Hey, why don't you come down and play accordion on a number?" And Butch does talk like that, with a full Wisconsin accent. And I said, "Sure." And I came down, and Smart wasn't big yet, So it was, we played for some beer and company. And
that was pre-Nirvana days?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When Smart
Just
Studios
prior,
was first starting, yeah.
The record we're talking about is considered the keystone of the grunge sound.
Yeah, wow.
It starts there. But he was having all kinds of players come on that record. It mixed a lot of things. And the thing it did, though, really, I didn't contribute to this at all, was you have that, it solidified the, soft, 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 chorus, big, 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 soft, 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 the extreme dynamics that became related to that, genre, which I still like. And by the way, do you do Blur song number, what's that called?
Song number 2?
Song number 2?
No.
Oh.
Should we?
Yeah.
Okay. I got to write that down too.
Gotta take notes.
Well, you know it.
Blur number 2.
You know the song, right?
If I heard it, maybe. Was it?
Oh yeah, okay, sure.
Oh yeah, sure. I know that one. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah. Well, have you guys been to the World of Accordion Museum in Superior, Wisconsin?
I know where it is, but I have not been inside yet.
I have not been inside.
It's a long trip to Superior.
It's on my grocery bag. It says, "Did you know that the World Accordion Museum?"
Yeah, I think Festival Foods had that on the had a series of grocery bags. No one had one on there. Yeah,
this place isn't going to stay open if nobody's gone to it.
We drove past it once. I mean, to be honest, it was early Sunday morning. It's like, oh, there it is.
Most of my early gigs with
yet.
my polka band, when we were kids, most of my gigs were up in the Superior area, just south of there a little bit, up near Dairyland, Wisconsin, Moose Junction, Wisconsin, and we'd play the town halls and get hired for weddings and get $50 and a dinner, which the ladies would make in the back. And a lot of hot dishes, but pretty close to Superior. So I know the area quite well. Most of my family's from up there, but I've not been to the museum because, well, my early accordions came from cousins and aunts, so I already have the museum.
This is sad.
Well,
none of us have been to the accordion.
I was going to say my front room is that place. I think I actually own about 22. I think at last count.
And
I'm such
you've
a
all
piker.
everybody here has
bad.
played Arts Concertina Bar. In
Absolutely.
Milwaukee.
It's a great place. Yeah.
Which is very similar. Accordions, well, concertinas all
Everything.
over the
Button
place.
accordion.
Yeah.
Polanski. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, one of us will go to the World Accordion Museum someday, and we'll let each other know how it goes. They are having an event, World Accordion Day, in Palmer Festival, May 2nd to 5th. Might be a good time to check it out if anybody's interested. Coming up.
And wasn't Monday National Polka Day? I believe it. See, we don't even know that.
Every day's polka day to us.
It's almost like National Donut Day.
Well,
There's just so many.
Was it national or the state? Did we?
That's right. That's
when Tommy Thompson signed the
official
bill.
The official bill that made polka the national
state
national
dance,
dance of Wisconsin.
Yes, I did see that. That's pretty cool. We had a message here from Jim Dewey. He said, we went to the International Accordion Festival in San Antonio years ago, kind of as a joke, and Copperbox blew us away. After their show, they held a clinic, a great band with their hearts in the right place. Come to St. Louis again.
Oh, yeah. I know Jim. I remember speaking with Jim at Soulard, too. We played their German festival a few times. I believe Jim came to that too.
And by the way, the home of polka today is Texas, without a doubt. It's alive and well in Texas because you have, Norteño music, and you have the old German and Czech styles. And they've had it since day one. Those two styles, the Europeans who came to Texas in the 1850s, they brought brass. And, accordion is a later instrument, but they brought the polka beat, and that became Norteño music.
And it gave us the great Flaki Jimenez.
Yes, and did you play in New Braunfels?
I did. I just did this past fall at Wurstfest.
That is the polka capital of America is New Braunfels.
12 days of polkas, sausage, and beer. So if that doesn't get anybody all fired up, check it out.
You have to have new in the name because there's New Ulm, Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's kind of the polka capital of Minnesota. New Braunfels, Texas. Maybe
New London.
There we go. We'll make it New London.
maybe we'll start something here.
That's right next to New Hortonville.
Do you guys run into it a lot where people will go to play accordion or like a polka thing as a joke and then walk away a huge fan because you're actually kind of exposing yourself to that kind of music? And do you think that if accordion was more in the mainstream, that maybe it would have a resurgence?
Absolutely. I don't see why
people don't know what they don't know. And once they hear it and enjoy it and find out that it's not all papa, your grandpa and grandma's music, that the accordion's a real versatile instrument, and here's some of the different ways. And Danny does such a great job. That's why I say with all the different styles you play, brings a lot of people into it who may not have realized that accordion is that versatile and is that ubiquitous across different styles of music. Maybe they learn more.
The accordion is very versatile. Polka, as we knew it long ago, is not.
Right.
It's set forever in certain dances, certain songs. The modernization of polka, doing Led Zeppelin polka style, that's a gimmick, and it came later, and it draws people in.
Sure.
But that's not polka. Polka is what happened between 1927 and 1955 in Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, and all the Great Lakes states, wherever there's Polish, really, if you want to.
Yeah, it was huge.
And it was huge. It was unbelievable. It was a thing. It was a national thing.
Polka stars were superstars.
Yeah.
Across all of music, all of pop. It was
Lawrence
like the pop music.
Duco, who I mentioned earlier, actually charted a hit on the R&B charts of America.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. Swiss Boy.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, in 1949.
Well, and exposing people to it. Here's an example. There was a club in Northeast Minneapolis. I think it was Jack's. It's a supper club, and they had polka music on the weekends upstairs. And then they decided to make. And they also had a room in the basement, like a banquet hall, and they started having punk bands in the basement. And they would be there on the same night. So it'd be polka upstairs, punk music downstairs, two demographics that do not mix in any way, shape, or form. And the punk guys who were there to see the punk band started kind of wandering upstairs once in a while. And eventually it became where the punks were showing up to go dance to the polkas upstairs more than they were to see the bands downstairs. And I think that's just an example of a little bit of exposure, a little bit of find out how much fun this music is, and they fell in love with it. So you had all these studded up, piercing, leather-clad punks in the early 80s, late 70s in Minneapolis going to see polka bands. And Ruth's Most Dangerous band at Nye's Polonaise Room regularly would draw in younger people. And it was I guess it was kind of a niche thing, or maybe a little bit quirky, but people really enjoyed it. Ruth Adams, the world's most dangerous polka band, at Nye's Polonaise Room for years, and would draw in people. Once they saw it, they'd come back every weekend.
Well, my good buddy Carl Finch from the band Brave Combo won some polka Grammys.
Yeah, it's a good band.
He would always mention that polka was the original punk. Kind of, because it just came in and it was looked down upon. It's like, well, all of these peasants are, they're like, we have our kind of dance now, and
that's
the royalty.
You know that guy?
Carl Finch? Yeah.
My favorite video on the planet that makes me happy is Bob Dylan doing
Must Be Santa.
Must Be Santa.
Yeah, it was the Brave.
You've got to see everybody out there has to watch Must Be Santa Claus by Bob Dylan with the Brave Combo.
Yeah, well, he took their arrangement, but Brave Combo didn't play on that song, but that was their original. It was their cover, their arrangement of that song, but David Hidalgo played the accordion on that Bob Dylan.
I love that thing. Even though Bob Dylan's he's
in the dark dungeon corner.
But I think that makes it.
Santa.
Brave Combo is fantastic.
Yeah, they're an awesome band, for sure. They've just celebrated 45 years.
They are the only surviving modern polka band that emerged in the 80s, I believe, early 80s.
Yeah, it's great that
there were a
guys
lot of punk polka bands back then, and I remember those darned Accordions from San Francisco.
Yeah, they still tour.
They do.
I believe so. They played Waterfest in Oshkosh not all that long
When they
ago.
began, there were just a lot of people from Cleveland who were living in San Francisco.
Oh, really?
They shared accordion as a...
Probably grew up with their parents dancing at Jimmy Stewart and things like that.
I can't get over that. Austin, New Braunfels, you guys are down there. That's wonderful.
We like travel, and I've been on some of the Brave Combo tracks too. Yeah. So it's
Jimmy Stewart said to me, it ain't happening up here. It just isn't. If I were you, I'd go down to Texas. They love polka. And he's right. And he was in Milwaukee in fact, he said those same words in a movie called It's Happiness. Great polka documentary.
Jimmy Stewart is one of those polka
Jimmy
superstars
Stewart's the polka king,
about,
self-proclaimed maybe, but he's the polka
There are
king.
several. We all know that Frank Yankovic's the real one, but
Romy Gaz was the Wisconsin.
Gaz.
We didn't mention him yet.
Manitowoc, Wisconsin.
Oh.
Romy Gaz.
Well,
he was on Columbia. Decca recording.
And he recorded at Paramount, the great label down in Port Washington, Wisconsin. Oh, Romy Gaz.
It was kind of fun. It was great. I moved to Appleton in 1984. And I still had a polka band at that point. Sort of, I put myself through college doing it, and that was kind of the end of it when I moved down here. But the wasn't the end completely. The end of it. It was the end of my polka band at the time. But moving down here, and all these names that were from here: Lawrence Duco, Dick Metco, Romy Gaz, all these people that I grew up watching. My parents, Dick Rogers Orchestra, and my parents would go see these bands and dance to them at the Bellray Ballroom in Medina, Minnesota, and all these different places. And I go, wow! And now I'm walking in the same streets that these guys walked, essentially, and it was pretty cool. And sadly,
are you going to sing a version of "Walking in Memphis" right now? Except you're walking in Appleton. Walking in Oshkosh.
Yeah, walking in Oshkosh. Sure, that might be another one you guys can do.
I'll write that down too, man. This was totally worth it, guys.
But we've lost so many of those guys. One of my heroes as a kid was Florian Shimoleski. The Shimoleski Brothers Orchestra then became the Shimoleski Family Fun Time Band. Just passed away this week at the age of 97. They had, for like 35 years, every weekend, a syndicated TV show that actually aired. I know it aired around here, and it aired pretty much nationwide at the time. So I grew up watching it on TV. That's like Frank talking about how it was. And that was kind of toward the end of things. It wasn't in the 50s. It was in the 70s mostly, maybe into the 80s and into the 90s. But we're kind of losing some of those guys. I know, Danny, you knew Florian Shimoleski and played with him and his son. They're kind of keeping things alive, though.
They are, yeah. Patty, Florian's daughter, I still believe, does some like polka shows and events, puts on some like festivals. And Florian's grandson, Nick, great drummer, accordionist, and still trying to keep that. The like cities, Minnesota, cities going.
I got to play with the Shimoleski brothers once. I went with my folks, and it was a, regular polka thing. And my mom or dad, I don't know which one, took him aside and said, "This is my son." I was like 12 or 13, and he plays accordion. And Florian's like, "Really? Can you play pretty good?" And I'm pretty good. So they invited me up to play, and I played a couple numbers with this band, and that was the first time I'd been in front of any size crowd, right outside of the nursing home that my accordion teacher would take us to play.
You started big.
Yeah. Wow. That was my first time on a professional stage, and I'm going, I'm doing this. This is my life, and didn't quite turn out that way. Never really attained Shimoleski Brothers status. But
do either of you know Carl Hartwig?
Yes.
I don't. No.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorites.
He is a concertina master for sure. I actually played with his band for about a year and a half. Back when I was 19 and I thought I hit the big time. We were going to Nebraska, Iowa.
Oh, you hit the big time. You're going to Nebraska.
I've never been to Nebraska before. But I mean, being 19, underage, and drinking all of the Blatts that I could possibly stand, and playing horn, I got to play a lot of trumpet, clarinet, and Carl and I would do some duets on concertina and button box. But I learned a lot of what to do and what not to do. You know, that was very Carl. I love that guy.
I first heard Danny on a wonderful solo album by a really great songwriter and artist from here in Appleton, Susan Howe.
Oh,
He played on my favorite song from her Nashville album she did with real A-list players. It was fantastic, and she had you play on it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was great.
well, that was 20 years ago, maybe.
Yeah,
It was quite a while back. Mark Goldie, I think.
You talked about, though, you know, you learned what to play and what not to play. What you play there is spot on for pop music.
Thank you.
Yeah. You got to take these compliments when you get them.
Yeah, I do. I appreciate that.
We had a question here. It's from Jerry Swedberg. Fascinating conversation. Are there popular accordion Christmas songs, either traditional or original, played at Christmas? And do you guys play those at Christmas family gatherings?
Yes, much to the chagrin of my family. Yeah, I got a couple of old Christmas songbooks that I still pull out at Christmas time, and I'll, you know, Here Comes Santa Claus, and the regular ones, and just kind of fiddle around on them. I don't think I've ever played them in probably did in the polka band way back when, maybe a couple of December gigs, but yeah, and you know, it's cringy, I'm sure, for my family. Except my father-in-law, my late father-in-law, he always liked to listen to it because he'd go up to the cabin. He always wanted me to bring the accordion up there, and a couple times I did. But he always has polka on the radio up there, playing throughout the lawn and across the lake. And,
They still have a polka station?
yeah, you can still pick it on the weekend mornings. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's interesting because the accordion, you can't change the volume besides putting towels over, like
Well,
Frank
if
mentioned.
you're good at it, you can.
You sure can.
Yeah.
You sure can.
Is that just the force you're putting on the bellows?
Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Air. Yeah.
Is
You
there?
can. It's just some people, I mean,
Well, some people say it's always, if it's an accordion, it's always too loud, but they're wrong.
and mine is mic'd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a mic inside mine too, although it's not that good. So I generally, mic technology's pretty good now. So I just get up to it. Danny actually taught me how to mic the accordion appropriately when you're using a stand mic. I kind of had it sort of just kind of in front, would just let it play. He goes, no, you got to get it right in the front, right by the keys there. And yeah,
Close is
changing
better.
the world. Closer the better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is there any misconceptions about accordions that every time you hear it, it just makes you cringe?
The misconception is that all accordion players are nerds. And look at the three of us.
It's not a
Okay,
nerd up
okay,
there.
they're probably right.
No, it's you know what? It's well, not. It's when you get it on both sides, and you can actually just drift away. It's the greatest instrument you can play. Because, like you said, you're a band. You don't need anybody. You can use your feet if you want some, drum accompaniment, and that's.
What is that noise?
We're under attack.
Everything's happening at the same time.
For a second, I thought it sounded like an accordion for a
I did
second.
too.
I looked to see if Tony was playing one over
We're
there.
out of time.
Last time I was on, did I tell you the greatest musical performance I ever saw in my life? In the Boundary Waters, did I tell this story?
I don't think so.
I'll make it fast. I played a gig in Madison. This is a long time ago, 1976. I was invited to a wedding in the Boundary Waters,
Way up in northern Minnesota?
almost at the
Yeah.
border. The town population, 40, immediately, 40 people. Finished my gig, got in my car, drove all the way up through Minnesota. When morning arose, I arrived in this little tiny town. The wedding was that night. Slept, got up, went to the wedding. The band was one guy with an accordion, not mic'd, in the nice town hall, right? Everybody's bringing potluck, everybody. And it's one of those weddings where the community, it was like Northern Exposure, the TV show. the rhythm was a guy with a dead string guitar. So he had a towel under the strings, and he had a little amp like this, and he'd go, that's it. And the two of them were the greatest band I've ever seen in my life, ever. Because their enthusiasm was so great. I'd rather see someone, you know, who knows 2 chords on the guitar and puts all he has into those, or she has into that, than these, you know, dudes who do, he does, you know, he can play a Steely Dan solo. You know, I'm like, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? I want to see that band, that duo that made me so happy. And the dance floor was full, and a Minnesota girl grabbed me and took me out behind the place to show me real polka steps. You know, not the clod-hoppy thing everyone does at
I thought you were going to tell a much more unsavory story about what went on behind the building.
Actually, I was just saying, Andy said to try to keep it clean here.
Nothing better could have happened.
Yeah.
Because I was dancing with everyone after she showed me.
That's awesome. Sweat there, freaking.
But
no, I could almost picture of what you just said.
Yes. It's like one of the, who paints those paintings of northern Minnesota and the dumps and the perfect cabin and everything?
I played a gig for a snowmobile club, and we had to drive through like 6 inches of snow down dirt roads into the middle of the woods to play in this place heated by a pot-bellied stove, and there was probably 60, 70 people packed into this thing. They all arrived by snowmobile. It was like 5 below zero that night, and it was the most amazing gig we ever did. People had so much fun. They were all smashed drunk. Shouldn't have got on snowmobiles afterwards, but at least they weren't on the roads. And that was one of the, that was way up in far, it might have been, well, I think it was up near Nevis and Park Rapids, Minnesota, pretty far up north. That was one of the greatest gigs. But, you know, you get up that far, you don't have a lot of entertainers coming up to visit.
No.
And it was a big deal. It was a lot of fun. And we're 15 years old and going, these people are crazy. We might not get out of here alive. Just keep playing. If they ask, if they have a request, fake it. Don't make them mad.
Well, you guys aren't going to believe this, but we talked about accordion for an hour, and right at the end, this is a good, I don't know if it's much of a comment, but it's a good, or a question, but it's more of a comment. Brenda Minter, with listening to Patty, I'm going to butcher this, Shimoleski song, I have a Polish boyfriend, long live polka.
Ah.
So
yeah. Polish boyfriend, you have our sympathy, but thanks for checking in.
Do you guys have gigs coming up or anything that you want to promote? I know that Zebra Mussel is going to be playing a show. Copper Box is always playing, and STEEM is just played a show in at the Grand.
Yeah, we played a show at the Grand last Friday. We got I think four or five summer gigs coming up. We're going to be playing at the Whammy Awards at the Epic on May 19th.
Awesome. MC'd by Len Nelson. Right?
I don't know if I don't think I'm MCing. I used to do that back in the day. Did it for about 12 years, but. The band's going to do a couple numbers, and that's a nice night for everybody in Wisconsin, and musicians get to have fun with other musicians and hand out awards and stuff, and we'll do a couple songs there.
If you have connections there, Len, can you have them change the specialty instrument to just accordion?
Yeah, we should. There should have its own category.
Danny, Frank,
yeah. Copperbox has a lot of things. Just go to copperboxband.com. I think we're playing in Iowa tomorrow. So if anybody, I'm pretty sure.
I want to know when you're going to Nebraska.
Nebraska. Why? You wanna ride along?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make this. We'll all go. We'll make this accordion conversation 17 hours long instead of just one.
Let's take this on like the road guys.
A real nerdy history thing. Wherever Catholics settled in great numbers in America, you'll find polka music. It's that simple. And Nebraska, of course, Texas, and
sure.
Oklahoma has some good polka bars.
Yukon, there's a Czech hall at Yukon, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
There was a young girl that when I was a young boy, we went out back and she was teaching me some like steps too. They're really good dancers, seriously, yeah.
I'm gonna be using that. Yeah, this one girl,
That's a song title.
She taught me some steps, I'll tell you.
I'm gonna be messaging you, try to get some more info. Maybe you and I can write a song. Len too, let's all write the song.
Everybody out there, there's nothing more fun than dancing polka music. There's nothing more fun.
Yep. Andy, I want to thank you for having us on. I mean, I don't think there's probably a lot of places in America that's having an accordion conversation this morning.
Outside of Texas.
Code Zero Radio, baby.
In the world.
Yeah.